The Whiskey Brothers podcast is intended for an adult listening audience. If you find yourself easily offended, I guarantee this will do it.
They don't want no problem. Nah.
From Houston, Texas, the Whiskey Brothers podcast starts now.
Welcome to the Whiskey Brothers podcast. It is episode 660. It's happening live, this time from the Azores. We don't stay in one place. I am your host, as always, Slade. Welcome to the Whiskey Brothers. Dale Cheeseman is here.
Oh, hey.
Not here, Trey Tutson. Not here, Rob Mungle. Not here, Sam Damaris. But, of course, our on-the-road whiskey brother, now Jason Salmon.
Driving whiskey brother.
Yeah, whatever that is.
Yeah, I'm a whiskey Uber.
Yeah, it's like
That's
a
what I am.
whiskey. We'll take it. We don't have whiskey actually at the table, but we're well, some of us are drinking alcohol. You got some whiskey in that glass,
I have
Dale.
whiskey because I stay true to the show and the fans who
Cheers.
expect it.
I have a local Portuguese beer. Actually, Superbock, it's even localer. And then you.
Some of us have a Summersby apple cider with watermelon, which
Strong choice.
with
Strong choice.
yeah,
It's,
and guess
it's
what?
apple cider featuring
Hey,
watermelon.
Yeah, featuring watermelon. Watermelon just comes in, talks for a bit.
I like you're already a character. I like how your character has a character.
My character is already on fire. It is, despite the crisp and refreshing nature of this Summersby. If you drink it enough, you drop the second S. So
You've
instead
done-
of Summersby, it's Summerby.
You've done Bud commercials before. Dude,
I have.
Give me a Summersby.
Summersby.
That's such a dick move.
Summersby. When you're sick of getting drunk fast. when you're sick of being aware you're getting drunk.
Summersby. Welcome to the Kentucky Derby. Oh, did you forget your hat? I'm sure it's around here somewhere, Summersby.
Is
it's
it-
around here somewhere. Sorry, I got to do it. Slade, stay on topic. Keep focused.
No, I could be anywhere right now.
Yeah, I'm just trying to keep you here.
How did we make it this far in 5 weeks without losing anyone?
Slade, it's been 7 weeks. So Slade has
almost
been
did.
horribly altered in his mind.
Who are you?
I'm your boss.
Okay, I'm sorry, sir.
You're on my podcast. Welcome
Wow, that's weird.
to the Dale Hour to the Sothersby Show.
Yeah, I wouldn't start a podcast that way.
You have 600 times.
What?
There were
So-
60 off.
So Slade is what's medically known as retarded right now. Because you want to tell the story? Do you remember the events?
The day of is a little blurry. I did wake up this morning. I had to text Dale and go, "Hey, are you in your room?" He goes, "Yeah." I knocked on his door. I go, "Did one of my stitches fall out? I found a stitch in my bed."
Really?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So the wound might open back up.
Listeners, this is what's called as foreshadowing. Quentin Tarantino does it a lot. He'll start the story towards the end and then work his way back. That's what we're going to do right now. We're going to wind that clock back to Romania. Remember how much fun we were having in Romania from the last Friday episode? Well, it got better.
Yeah. Literally the next morning.
The next morning.
Because when you say we're going to hang out with Canadians, I do think it's going to be the least threatening thing we've done.
I really wish you had saved the Canadians part as a reveal at the end. It's even funnier.
You
But
know
it
what?
was, in fact, Canadians that
He's
did this to Slade.
retarded. Stop critiquing his narrative skills.
Critiquing retarded people is my forte.
You know how hard it is to be actual
I am the
Tarantino?
Matt Forte of critiquing retarded people.
That's why you're not allowed in places with more than 40 people anymore.
Because I can't count that high. But we were in Romania. The next morning after we recorded, we went to go check out these F-18s, which were
Super Hornets.
Super Hornets. They weren't the only ones that were Super Hornet. You know what I mean?
If you know what I'm
5
saying.
weeks
You know!
over here.
She was attractive.
I
Is
can
that a
go-
welt in your pocket? Nope.
That like they were like, these things go 0 to 60. I'm like, dude, after 5 weeks, I'll do 0 to 60. Just fucking no.
You give us a hot flight engineer,
Mhm.
and then
She was gorgeous.
and then she's showing us, and then she throws a flashlight into the intake for whatever. I don't remember the reason.
She was saying that's what they did
Mhm.
because they'd have to go in and fix those, And so what they'd have to do is throw the flashlight in so they could see where they were going because the way it was, you couldn't hold it and crawl at the same time.
Yeah, I was distracted. You listened to her bullshit.
For our listeners who aren't technical with F-18s, which has to be like, what, 5 of you? The intake is the big hole that you're like, oh, that'd be funny to see someone sucked up in there.
And I'll tell you, it was.
It was hilarious.
It was.
That was the best part. Okay, wait. So she throws the flashlight into the intake and gives a very long speech about there's one thing you need to avoid.
I wasn't listening.
It's that thing right there. Don't hit that. That thing right there. Just watch out for that
Meanwhile-
thing right there.
Meanwhile, if you can picture Slade, when she threw it in, was like a dog on a leash, just like, I want to go fetch that thing. I'm going to fetch that thing. I want to make my owner happy. I want to make my owner the happiest owner in the world.
I am an easily manipulated man.
He is.
Okay, but just remember, watch that one thing in
Huh?
there
What?
that's not perfectly flat.
What?
So Slade goes in backwards. I kind of hoisted you in, but I don't blame myself at all.
You know what? That's the great thing about being Dale is when it involves physical labor at all, he's sort of absolved.
Yeah. This was not on me. I was not the one to pick
That's
to do
not
this.
my
I was
world.
just standing there.
I'm taking ownership of it. In fairness, I did she say it was like super sharp, or did she just say it was like?
Well, they
there?
called it the Nutcracker because it's on the bottom and you're supposed to watch your nuts. So that's probably what
But
you were
she
thinking
said-
about.
she said
you went in backwards.
I thought it was further back. I
Yeah,
vaguely
yeah.
was like,
It did look further.
girl in uniform, girl in uniform, girl in uniform. There's something really dangerous back there.
Yeah.
Girl in uniform, girl in uniform.
I didn't think it was as dangerous as it ended.
Okay, can I ask that just by raise of hands? Did anyone in her description that you heard believe that it was capable of doing what it did?
No.
The fact that she was letting you in there
Yeah.
didn't make me believe that
It seemed
was
at
that
worst
big
you
of a
would rack
threat.
yourself on it.
Right.
The Nutcracker.
A
No,
funny
she
story.
did say
But
something
now I'm
about
wondering-
how it tore up clothing.
Oh
She
yeah.
was saying when she was going in that they would sometimes.
I heard tore off clothing. I stopped listening again. It's
Yeah,
Well,
she's
luckily
like, well,
it
she's
didn't-
coming on to me. I best get that flashlight.
yeah.
Luckily, it didn't tear any of Slade's clothing. It just tore a huge hole in his head.
When I got in backward, I was on my back and I thought, oh, this will be fun. It's like a slide. If I just push really hard, I'll shoot all the way back. And I on my back went, "Gung," and I just stopped. And then I popped my head back out and I was like, well, that
And you
fucking.
heard like a sword unsheath.
Yes, like snicked. I still, machismo is a hell of a fucking thing. I was like, I still got to get the flashlight.
Did you just say my machismo?
No, not
Was
mine,
that hell of a-
motherfucker.
Said machismo.
Machismo in general. Yeah, my Shut up,
No,
Dale.
actually,
No.
I think
rewind
you
the tape.
stopped.
You can
I
still
think you
blame
said.
it
I
on the
think you
head
said
injury.
my, and then you stopped and then started a different sentence.
Either
Yeah,
way,
I think it was a correction.
I've never put those two words together in my
He
entire
did not
life.
say my
My
machismo.
My machismo.
Yeah.
No,
That's the theme song to this podcast.
no. I crawled back to get the flash, and I was like, man, this doesn't feel right. And I just sort of reached up and took my hat off. I was like, oh, that feels wet. And then I came out, and I was like,
you announced from in there. You're like, I cut my head.
Because I was trying to be like, stay in there. This is a cool picture. And you're like, nope, I'm coming out. I fucked
well,
up.
but I also wasn't I couldn't come out panicky.
The way you said it was not panicky because when you said you cut your head, I thought scratch.
Right. And at the time, I might have as well. And then
Okay.
as I was backing out of this tunnel,
It was easier to back out because it was all lubricated now. To slide
With-
easily.
yet still cognizant of the thing
Yeah.
that was going to hit
Yeah,
my
yeah,
nuts
yeah,
going
yeah.
out the right. And I just started seeing drip, drip, drip. I was leaving a trail. I was like, oh, this is so much worse than I think it is. And as I got out, I was like, be cool, man. Be cool. I'm fine. It's just a little. And I took a knee like they shot a black guy during the national anthem. It
Yeah,
was instant. I was like, all right, I'm going to
came
sit
And it, was,
here.
out-
and it was a crime scene on
You
the
came
ground.
out, moved your hand, and about half a cup of blood immediately just splattered on the ground. And the Canadians went into full apology mode.
Oh.
Scramble these sorries.
So sorry.
Which incidentally, the level of apology and the lack of applied pressure to the wound made me believe that they think enough sorries will cauterize an open wound.
Well, because I do remember you were the only one even close to me,
Yeah.
holding me up and putting
know.
shit on my head for a minute. I was like, is there not anyone more qualified than Jason? I'm happy.
That's
Oh,
what.
you meant qualified because I was there too, but it's fine. I wasn't helping. I was taking pictures.
Yeah, Dale was
that was the-
documentarian Dale.
That was the best part about
Yeah.
about this horrible accident with comedians.
I
Is
basically
none
got
of
a-
us cared about you.
No, I've got a flip book of photos. I can watch
Yeah.
the whole
we
event
got
frame by
every
frame.
angle on all our phones, and the Canadians are like, "Oh, we gotta get pressure." We're like,
Yeah.
"Hold on, you're in the way."
Yeah. No. Apply it from here. No, that's the thing. The thing was before the medics got there, they weren't. I was like, do you have something?
Anything?
I asked them for something, and they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, just a cloth or something. Like, do you have a?
Well, because
And
I
the dude like just sort of wandered off.
I was-
He didn't like go to a
I
place.
guess I'll go look.
thank God because
And I'm going through my pockets for napkins because I've been hoarding napkins because we're
For
somewhere
incidents like this.
because every day we're somewhere different, and I'd have no idea if they're gonna have napkins where food's served. And I know you've watched me eat.
I know.
I need napkins where food is served.
That mustache.
That mustache, I can see what you mean.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And as all of this is happening, I'm getting progressively and more progressively lightheaded.
Yeah.
And I just remember
Yeah.
there was a moment where I was
Yeah,
like,
you stopped laughing at our jokes.
I-
which
yeah,
you
and that's
thought
how
was
you knew.
Very rude.
I was like, oh, I'm going down for a minute. And I was
Yeah.
like, cool.
You
and
did
I-
have that one look in your eye where it was like, oh no, I'm about to be the man of the house.
Yeah. Dale, that episode's got to come out on Friday.
I got you.
I went down, and then I think I came right back. Like it felt very
Yeah.
quick.
You
It
just-
was
you
not that
fainted,
quick.
You
It-
micro fainted.
Okay.
No,
Right?
you full fainted.
Did I?
No, are you kidding? He
He
retarded.
stuttered.
fainted.
He said
did-
I had a seizure.
No. He flipped the girl, the one that sent you into the thing.
Yes.
When she saw you faint, because we had gotten you up on the chair,
Right.
and you're up on the chair.
That was cool.
And I've got my hand on the head, on your head,
Uh-huh.
and you fainted. And I could feel you about to go, and so I like put my arm around.
Oh,
you
it was
in front.
beautiful. It was like it was sweet arms of Jesus.
I put my arm around you in front, and when you went, you went, and I thought, okay, he's gonna go out because this has happened to me before.
Yeah, I lost a
I'm
pint
like,
of
you're
blood.
gonna go out, everything's gonna stop, and then you're gonna like snap back fast.
Mm-hmm.
But when you snap back like you were falling down a pit in a science fiction movie. You're just like like that, and I swear to God, it was like 4 of them.
Oh,
and
shit.
the girl saw this, and that is the thing that sent her over the edge because she thought, oh, I ruined his brain. She thought she sent you into seizure, and everybody thought, oh, he seized.
Which I
because they
didn't.
kept trying to tell her that, and I'm like, no. He just came out of fainting,
Yes.
and twitched like crazy because he was trying to, like muscularly,
Yeah.
you're trying to replace yourself. again.
Yeah, mentally, I was like, did I shit my pants in front of a hot girl? This is.
You told me I didn't shit my pants from the hot
That's a
girl.
good-
Yeah.
I think I still have a chance, and I think it's the best chance I've got. Yeah, and like we were all like we were concerned just for that microsecond that you were
Oh,
spasming, but then he's like, oh, he's laying down, he's fine. Then we started going up to people and we're like, hey, this was a horrible thing that happened. You're not gonna let people do this in the future, because this was really fun.
Well, oh shit, we already got to take a break. You guys weren't here. You weren't with me for the second part of this journey, but
Oh, that's right.
we'll come back. Oh God, there's so much to get to. We're live in the Azores. Jason Salmon, Dale Cheeseman, myself, the Whiskey Brothers. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Let's do it. We'll be right back on the Whiskey Brothers podcast.
Are you new to the Whiskey Brothers? Then check out the legendary first 400 episodes. Access the archives at praisewhiskey.com.
Welcome back. You guys, what you missed was the stitching up process. And then another thing. One, when they stitch, so they bring me into the little army clinic.
Mm-hmm.
And they take the bandage off, and again, blood goes like like a neighbor's sprinkler. And the guy goes, all right, we're going to try and get these shots in you to deaden the whatever. And he's like, but it's going to be like 5 little pricks. I was like, if you got to stick 5 fucking needles in me, just stitch it up, dude. And he's like, all right, man. Well, they start pushing and pulling and chopping away the hair and all this other stuff. And I hear the guy, like, bedside manner is not a thing in an Army hospital.
No.
No. And you took a picture of the dude who was consulting you.
Dude.
I wanted to see, like, he just had your medical records, and it was all, like, redacted. He's like, you've done these tours before.
The Durr, who was the main guy helping out, but then this other doctor came in.
What was his name?
Durr.
Durr?
Yeah.
Is that his actual name, or are you having a moment?
Durr. Yeah, you know, the Durr was...
Doctor.
Durr.
He can't say Dave. Yeah, everything's fine. I just can't say the word Dave, which rarely is a problem.
Have you ever been, like, in a situation where you're getting something done and, like, medically, and then someone walks in like, oh, hey, I'm only in here. Holy shit, what happened to him? Like,
Yes. Yeah.
that is not helping.
Yeah.
That is not.
The bedside, but it's terrible bedside manner. But if you're practical, it's actually really good to have that happen because you're like, oh, okay, I should definitely be on top.
This is
of
where
this.
I need to be. Yeah.
You're like these people aren't bullshitting.
And what am I? I'm not
There's
going
nothing worse to feel like you're wasting a bunch of ER doctors' time.
Yeah. They're like,
Oh,
oh,
Christ,
is
he came
that
in with that?
really? Just that?
No, they and then I heard, what else did I hear in that moment? Oh, we're gonna need a bigger needle.
Oh,
that
there
was
you go.
another thing I heard.
Yeah.
That I shouldn't have heard.
One of the lines that got cut from Jaws.
Well, because you were on a lot of anesthetic.
Jaws
right?
4, the alleyway.
Because they appropriately loaded you up with anesthetic for all this, right?
No,
Oh, really?
all those shots did not happen. I did this natural.
Yeah.
That's the word I found.
Okay. Yeah.
Natural.
Natural.
Yeah, like, you know, when you have a baby in a
Yeah.
bathtub.
Surgery in the nude.
Yeah.
They told me that's how it's done here.
Whatever. What am I gonna yelp the fucking Army? I can't bitch.
He just had a laptop screen pulled up with like a kid teaching crochet. He's like,
That's because your
We're gonna need a
imagination.
bigger needle if I'm gonna hook and loop.
Yeah, your imagination is going to work pack. I
Yeah,
can't feel
'cause
anything but
yeah.
pressure and dudes going,
Oh, I
holy
know it.
shit, and then other people laughing. That's
Yeah.
all I know. So,
They were laughing too, huh?
well, because they knew where they were sending me to a Romanian hospital for a CAT scan.
They were laughing because this is the first casualty
Oh,
logged
that's-
by the Canadian military.
Nothing's ever happened. It's been 7 years since their last incident.
Yeah.
That was like someone spilled a hot chocolate on their
Right.
foot.
Meanwhile, we're all going through your stuff.
And rightfully
at the-
so.
Yeah, back
There's
at the barracks. We're
not
like,
much
Do you
there.
want this? I would
It's like, I never thought this skull ring would have value, but it's finally worth.
Guys, how are we going to split up these 7 band T-shirts? Who
trash.
wants the black blue jeans?
Yeah.
I'll
Who's
take-
got the biggest trash can?
I'll take all of his left chucks. You take all of his right chucks, and once a year we'll meet up.
I
And
packed very
We'll
simply.
meet up and have a bad basketball tournament.
Jesus. Well, you guys have not been to a Romanian hospital, but you've probably been to a zoo.
you
Yeah.
might have been to a Romanian hospital.
If
It did
you've
have that
ever
vibe.
been worked on with 1970s sci-fi medical equipment,
No, or let's get into the Confederate doctor.
dude, I don't
Yeah.
even know how to describe. I after sitting there for 2, and Jason's this hospital is chaos. There's a naked Romanian man on the bed next to me, whose catheter bag is just laying on his chest.
Really?
Occasionally he rolls over and it falls on the floor. Poop, like someone dropped a cartoon character.
Which is classic comedy.
And then he pulls it back in
Yeah.
by the tube like he's crabbing. And it just
I'm just trying to see how far up I can get it.
his little bag of pee, and he puts it back on his chest. And then a doctor walks by eating I'm guessing, maybe a nurse,
Maybe.
eating a piece of pizza, and he checks the guy. Dude, and you're texting me the whole time, Jason.
Yeah.
You're like, tell me you're writing all this down. I'm like, they haven't invented the pen here. I'm in a fucking Civil War hospital.
Yeah.
That's right.
This guy just bit down on a belt.
The
They're
picture of
leeching
your
this
doctor
guy.
that you showed me, he looked like, imagine a Civil War amputee technician
Yeah.
Yes.
who listens to EDM.
Like
I
a
guess.
A guy who
hipster
was
Civil
on.
War reenactment.
Yeah.
Right.
A guy who's
Like
on
he's
the.
like, when I'm
yeah.
not being a doctor, I make a really good gin fizz.
Yes.
Artisanal.
I use copper mugs
Yeah.
for
When I'm
all
not-
matches.
When I'm not listening to
I'm
Radiohead
a-
on vinyl,
I'm an artisanal leecher.
Right. Not enough people appreciate the bloodletting.
when I'm not LARPing, he was this guy had, and I thought he took my passport and he walked away. And I thought I saw a Confederate flag on his scrubs, and it was so out of place that
out of place, halfway around the world out of place.
I googled
levels of out of place.
I googled the Confederate flag to make sure I still knew what it looked like. Not a joke. I could show you in my search history. I was like, certainly it must be something else over here. I googled Romanian Confederate flag. Nothing else came up. And then he came back with my passport, and he had an Italian accent. I don't know why. It's not Romanian, I don't think, but it's also I can't do accents. But he comes back, he goes, "You're from the Lone Star State," and I went, I am. And he points at his Confederate flag on his scrubs, and he goes, "I like her, Luca," and I just
some things
like
have
you
happened.
chose the wrong thing,
dude. That's what I said. You could see my face instantly.
No, you love Mississippi.
Yes, anything. I go, what? But that's not. He goes, "I don't like the ideas, but Dixie music." And I went.
That is a man whose wife is never going to be able to hurt him.
Husband. He was not straight.
Okay.
He. I don't know how to even describe the things they tried to do to me. It's a blurry. I remember
Was there a probe?
No, but almost. This woman came over with stuff.
You're describing your experience. You're like, well, 2 grays came in the room. And flipped me. I was like, no, those are just malnourished Romanians.
Yeah.
Big eyes, bright lights. They tried to put needles in my arm, and I wouldn't let them. The whole, and I just kept trying. I couldn't speak Romanian, so I just pointing in my head. I just bumped my head. Finally, they got a bandage on it, and they wheeled me back to this CAT scan machine.
Which was literally just a cat that sniffed you to find out if you had a tumor.
Dude, the
he
hallway.
Claws at you, you're sick.
This is just, I'm having PTSD. The hallway they took me down was out of a haunted house.
Yeah.
It's that peeling plaster
And
with
the
broken
crappy
brick.
thing about it is Slade's so good at documenting things, except post head injury.
Yeah,
his trip down the corridor of the Romanian hospital was just a long form video of his shirt.
Yes, I have the audio. I literally I hit record. I had it on selfie mode. Because I look like fucking. I had that stupid. I look like Paul Mooney with that bandage on my head. I got a cartoon tooth. Anyway,
You're trying to establish that a spy is pretending to be Muslim. Kind of
I dropped the N-word 4 times. It was so weird.
Just sad,
dude.
The Romanian scary hallway. You just saw like faces and hands kind of moving underneath the wall, and they're like, "We don't have a strong walls. It is just paper. There's a man in the other room."
Scrim.
Yeah.
Get back in bed.
My fucking head still hurts. It just, what a nightmare experience. Don't, if you ever find just die.
No, hold on. Really spell out that advice you're about to give them. Hey guys, if you're ever crawling into an Canadian F-18 in Romania,
You know what?
you know the first rule.
Pro tip.
If you're crawling in an F-18, look out and guard your spleen.
It's got to rhyme. Click
It
it or
has
tick
to.
it.
It really
did
has
right.
to.
And by spleen, you have just an asterisk that says we mean head.
Oh,
In Canada, the spleen is the head.
It is.
they were the cool. You know what, man? Those Canadians.
They were awesome. And because of you, we should thank you.
Yeah.
Because of your near fatal injury.
Well,
we
got
got invited to Canada House.
You're welcome. I did it for y'all.
The greatest relax station on any base we've been.
For all the ball busting we're doing,
Imagine if a army base had a champagne room.
that's
Yeah.
it was golden, man.
It was great.
we and they wouldn't let us.
Except the owner of the bar was buying the champagne.
They wouldn't even let us buy.
And making the women touch you.
That's you know what? Her last name was Huck. I just remembered. We talked in the bar, and
Tell me her first name was Finn.
That's she was okay. She thought she had killed me, and I thought she had killed me. And once we realized that I wasn't dead,
You know what's funny is
Then
we
you knew you were
sat
in.
down. Dale and I sat down to eat lunch, and she comes over. She sees us. She comes over. She said, "How's Slade?" And
I really let this down.
I had it on board. I'm going, Slade's dead. But of course, Dale, having no comedic timing whatsoever, goes, "Oh, we talked to him. He's doing okay. Don't worry about
You're
it."
a
And I'm like, and I
dickhole.
just punched him.
how do you ruin that?
Her hands were kind of quivering.
Yeah.
That's why the he's dead thing would have really taken, and we should
have killed.
And we should have. Not only that, you should have yes-anded me and bowed your head, and we should have just taken a full 1 minute moment of silence without saying anything.
Oh, I'm kind of mad at y'all. Let's go back and do it again.
I wish we
will.
could. I have not been angrier at Dale, and believe me, he's an awful human. I have not been angrier at him since
Guys,
we went on this
take it
trip.
from Jason.
Dale is aberrant.
Ooh, good word.
Thank you.
I pronounced that
Way to
abhorrent.
go.
I'm probably wrong.
I don't know.
Those may be two different words. You could be aberrant and abhorrent.
Uh-huh.
Listeners, tell us which
Same
one of us
time.
is right.
Yeah.
I've got a head injury. It,
Tell us
it
if
might not even start
That's
with
what's
an A.
known as a paradox. So
Paradox.
Oh,
yeah,
Paradox.
a paradox.
paradox.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
Where?
Not to be confused with a paradox, which
No,
is what you were
that's-
seeing at the time.
Right.
Oh, how about that? Double
Nice.
vision and doctor joke all in one. Yeah.
Oh shit! Did we take up a whole episode talking about my stupid head?
We
Well,
did.
Yeah.
Did we?
I mean, it was bound to happen at
covered
some
one
point.
topic.
We've done 600 plus
Extensive.
episodes of this podcast. Your stupid head had to take up one full episode.
I bet there's more.
We can get a supercut.
I've lost a tooth on this podcast. I've
This podcast, this tour.
oh, I did that. Well, I had to pull my own. That's a whole different
He
story.
ripped it, yeah.
I cracked one in half.
You know, we don't have
on
time,
an
guys.
episode.
Slade pulled a tooth out right before a show. It was badass. And then he got people married at the show.
That's true. He did that.
That's pretty.
that's
That's
the
a
end
pretty
of it.
gangster
That
night.
was that in Poland?
No, that
No,
was in Germany.
Germany. I think.
All right.
I
I think that was in No.
Early
have no, not Ansbach, Stuttgart,
Stuttgart.
because they're all
Stuttgart.
the same.
Yeah.
I was going to agree with whatever the third
It all.
one was.
Your
Vice
rules.
Boss,
Oh,
Vice
now
Boss.
you're adhering to
Yeah,
comedy rules.
yeah.
Rule of 3, you got yes, and you can't fucking get.
You know the comedy rule: if a girl thinks she murdered someone and she's physically upset, you just keep fucking with her.
Yes, and
She's Canadian. She's not going to commit suicide. You know how many from the grave sorries she would be responsible for?
dude, a huge shout out to the Canadians if any of them are listening. And we were telling them about the podcast. We were telling them we were going to tell this story. I feel like they deserve some.
They were great about it.
They were
They were
fantastic.
fun. They were great in the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
We
We
had
waited a whole Canadian week for this episode.
Oh, hey. You guys
it's like
are
a
the,
week and a half American.
You sure cut your head like a pro.
You got to subtract by 3 days and then double it. Now they're Irish. It's the head wound.
Welcome to Canada.
That's
Hello,
Banff.
everybody.
That's
This
Banff and Vancouver. That's pretty accurate, actually.
Welcome to the Canadian podcast.
What you Swiss? You just Swissanese?
Dude, I love making Asians everything but Asian.
That's fair. That's fair. That's a fun,
Fucking
cross
Asian
accent.
just balling out in street ball court. A strip and a stride. The slip and slide. Never mind.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
I
get
went
it.
too
but
far.
You did.
All right.
I went too
You did.
far.
Put a pin in this one.
Dale
Like
ruined
a
it.
dead butterfly.
Whatever.
Dale Cheeseman, you're headed back to New York. Jason, J Salmon Comedy on Twitter. You're going to be joining Dale for some stuff in New York.
We haven't officially announced.
Possibly. I'm excited.
There's nothing in the works. Don't worry about
Dale
it.
and I are
Everyone
now,
keep your expectations exactly where they are.
Trust me,
Dale
the
and I
needle
are
didn't
now
move.
common law married.
I'm excited. We are
Really
going to
look
make.
forward to y'all meeting Danielle and Teresa.
I'm excited about it too. We got so many announcements to make. For those of you listening that have been part of the Patreon on the bottle support tier, whatever that one is, we got some gifts going out to you guys in Christmas. I'm very excited about that. If you're not a member of that, go join us on Patreon. Find us on Twitter. Everything's at Praise Whiskey. You can always drunk dial us 323-510.
Shot.
Still with us. 323-510.
Sorry, my head injury.
7468. Thanks to the Canadians. Thanks a lot to the American military for hooking me up. Romania, go fuck thyself. We'll be back on a future episode stateside on the Whiskey Brothers podcast.
They don't want no problem. Nah.
Music provided by Scarface. Thank you for listening to yet another excellent episode of the Whiskey Brothers Podcast, the world's funniest podcast ever. The Whiskey Brothers Podcast was made in America by Americans, mostly in and around the Houston area. All content copyright the Whiskey Brothers. This concludes our broadcast day. Goodbye.